What up, everyone? So we've got Comic-Con box here. So I've been hearing non-stop the past couple months people wanting a review on this one. People have been talking about it so much and they've been really excited about it, so they've been asking to review, and it finally came. So ask and you shall receive. So let's review this box. So like most boxes, I try to never believe the hype. People are always overly excited for it and they always recommend it, but I try to never get excited because it's like that just leaves you open for a letdown. But I think people had the wrong impression about this to begin with, because as soon as someone hears Comic-Con, they automatically think about all the exclusives and San Diego Comic-Con and all that jazz. But what most people don't know is that this Wizard World Comic-Con has nothing to do with San Diego Comic-Con. It's a completely different entity, and they're not technically related. So I think a lot of people heard Comic-Con and they thought about all the cool stuff, but it's like, well, that's not the same thing, so don't ever expect anything like that in here. It's a completely different thing, so just on a side note, just to let you know right off the bat. So, for things to note, that this box is very expensive, first of all, but it came with a lot of stuff. It doesn't look that big, but it came with a lot of different stuff in here, so it's pretty jammed full of stuff. So, something else I want to talk about, like, first let's look at the first item, and then I'll talk about it. So, I think this is from a Doctor Who shirt. Yeah. So it's a bunch of eggs that are shaped, or not shaped, but they look like characters from Doctor Who. So I'm not sure of the specific reference because I'm not super familiar with Doctor Who, so I'm sure someone in the comments will explain why these guys are in an egg crate. I'm sure there's some reference to it, I'm just not sure what it is. But regardless, there's something I want to talk about. So, I'm going to be changing my rating system a little bit. I've heard a lot of debate about the value that I give to t-shirts. And I've touched on this a little bit, but haven't really talked about it super in-depth. So, anyone that's watched my channel knows I give all the shirts a standard $12 to $15 value. And everyone always says, like, well, how can you do that? Like, how can you give, like, mashup, crossover, crappy shirts the same value of, like, branded shirts? Like, how could you do that? Like, it should be different. Yeah, it should be. You're totally right. It should be, but it's not. And the fact of the matter is that t-shirts are not valued based on quality, which I know makes zero sense, and you're all calling me crazy right now, but it's true. It has nothing to do with quality. It depends on who's distributing it. So if you were to go to Walmart, all their shirts are $7.50, like across the board. Doesn't matter who's on it. Marvel, DC, Star Wars, just a plain t-shirt. Like, it doesn't matter if it's branded, doesn't matter if it's fitted, they're $7.50. If you go to Target, they're $12.99. If you go to Hot Topic, they're $20. And they usually have a buy one, get one half off. They're the same companies, the same brands, but they're just different depending on where you go. So the ironic thing about it is that the crappy quality shirts that we get, the ones that they print themselves, that are mashups that they do in-house, they cost more than branded t-shirts. And again, I know that sounds crazy, but you got to think of it this way. Custom things are always going to cost more than like generic, like mass-produced things. Just across the board for anything. Custom things are always going to cost more. Now, the t-shirts we get in these boxes are custom t-shirts because they make them themselves. So it's more expensive to do that. The companies that are branded, that do that have tons of shirts that you get at like Target, they're mass produced, so they cost less because they do so much of them, and they're regular t-shirt companies. These boxes are not t-shirt companies, so it costs them more to do that. So the bitter irony here is the crappy shirts are valued higher because they cost more than the nice shirts, which is crazy. But the thing about it is I'm going to start giving ratings on it. So the $12 to $15 rating I give is not what that shirt is valued at. That's the value I'm giving to replace that shirt. So just like this one, it would cost $12 to $15 to buy this shirt specifically. Not to go buy one of better quality at a store, because you easily could for cheaper. There's always going to be a cheaper shirt, but it's going to be different. To replace this shirt specifically, or any in this box, that's where the 12 to 15 goes in there, because that's what the resale market is. That's what it would cost you out of pocket to replace this if you didn't get the box. That's only if you didn't get the box. So, and that's just because that's what I've seen them selling for online. And again, 12 to 15 is a general amount. Honestly, I've seen them go as low as 10. I've seen them sell as high as 20 for these crappy crossovers. But I don't want to give a $10 to $20 range on every shirt because that's too broad. I need to narrow it down. So that's where the 12 to 15 comes into play. So that's an explanation of it, and I hope that makes sense. Now, I agree with you guys that there should be different ratings for better quality shirts. I totally agree because you guys know I'm crazy about the shirts. I'm super into like t-shirt quality. Like it's a big deal for me. And so many of these crappy shirts get the same value as the nice ones. And you're right, that's not fair. So what I'm going to be doing from now on, I'm still going to give every shirt the $12 to $15 value because like I said, that's what it would cost about to replace that shirt if you were to go buy that one specifically. But I'm going to be giving each shirt an individual rating. So the box is going to have a rating based on the value with the $12 to $15 range, and then separately I'm going to rate each individual shirt because I think that's important to know. It's important to me at least. T-shirt quality is very important to me, and I think it is to other people too. So I'm going to be giving each shirt a rating, just like the boxes scale 1 to 10. 5 being in the middle, being average okay, everything above great, everything below not so great would probably pass. So things like the brand of t-shirt, if it's branded, if it's not, crossover, quality, print, it's like texture, like how soft it is, if it's fitted, if it's not. So I'm going to be giving individual ratings. So hopefully that will help people out, and hopefully that'll help people to understand a little bit more. So just keep in mind 2 separate ratings, but and I've gone on a huge ramble. So I hope that makes sense. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before I start rating all the boxes of July. So everyone keeps that in mind. So separate ratings. So after that tangent, back to the box. So we have our shirt here, and it is of decent quality. It's not Gildan, it's from Concert Tee, which is actually semi-nice. It's not like fantastic, but it's good. It's better than like the hard Gildan ones. Now I don't know if it's quite as good as Toltecs, but it's still pretty good. It seems fairly fitted. It seems good quality. The print on there is decent. It's not super high quality, but it's good. So this is definitely a decent quality shirt. So the rating, the rating I'm going to give this shirt is going to be a 6 out of 10. So just on this side of good, because I personally didn't get the reference on the shirt, but even if I don't, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if everyone understands the reference. It should still be a cool shirt. And a good example is the one I'm going to do. Nerd Block is the next block I'm reviewing. That'll be my next video. And that shirt is a good example of something where it's like, even if you don't get the reference, it still looked like a cool shirt. Whereas this one, I think it looks a little bit goofy, and I'm sure it's a crossover involved here. And another thing I didn't like is that most of them do it. They put their logo on there. Not a big deal. Most of the companies do. But I think me and everyone else would prefer if they didn't. Like, I personally don't like it when logos are on there. I know where it's from. I have no problem telling people where I got the shirt. I have no problem promoting it if it's a cool shirt. But I just hate that it's forced. And again, it's not big. They kept it pretty conservative. It's small on there, so it's not a big deal. But I think most people would agree we'd rather not have it. Like, no big deal, but I think we'd rather not. So anyway, I'm going to give a value on that specific shirt a 6 out of 10. But we'll talk about that again when we review and do a value of the box. So we got a shirt. 10 minutes into the video, we've gotten one item. Alright, what else do we got? So here, we got a mustache. So this is just, they have different shapes. It's just like a plush mustache that one might wear on their face. And it has a little like bungee thing on here so you can put it on your face. It really serves absolutely no purpose except for being a goofy looking mustache, just like a costume decoration. So if you were having a party or something like that, it'd be funny to wear, but other than that, it doesn't serve much purpose. It's still funny, it's cool, that's fine. I think that was funny enough. That works. Next, we got a plush toy. And this is from Adventure Time, but the funny thing about it is it's not a collectible toy, it's actually a dog toy. So it has this little squeaky in there. It has a little plastic crumblies in there. So yeah, so this is kind of cool. The cool thing about it is that you don't have to use it as a dog toy. It's still cool. Like if you like the show, you could easily put it on display. It's not bad quality or anything, but you could also give it to your dog if you have one. So I thought that was cool that they included that in there. I don't mind that at all. Awesome. Next, we got a little figure from The Legend of Zelda, a little Tomy figure. These are called mascot danglers. So these are like the cell phone ones that you'd hang off your cell phone. They plug into the headphone jack. and I'm actually not sure who this character is. I'll show a picture at the end, but it's pretty much the only character I didn't recognize. Not Link or Zelda, but it's one of the other characters. But regardless of that, it is a really cool figure. It's good quality, and I always like little tiny figures. I always pull the keychain part off, and then I put them on display. So I actually really like them. And it was a little blind bag, so I don't mind that at all. Hey! Shut up! Hey! Sorry. Next. This was just a little filler thing. It's just a little chomping dinosaur. You pull the trigger, his mouth moves, it's a little chomping thing. This is just filler. Like, there's really nothing special about it. It's just like a fun little dollar thing. Little dinosaur. There we go. Then, we got a DVD. And this is of Ant-Boy. I'm not really sure of the backstory of this. I highly doubt it has anything to do with Ant-Man. I would highly doubt that. I'm sure it definitely seems like a kid's movie, so I'm not sure how many people would be super interested in it, but it's still a DVD. You can check it out, and I haven't watched it yet, so it doesn't look super good, but it could be good. You never know. But you got an Ant-Boy DVD. Next, so this was something that was kind of cool. We actually did get something from Comic-Con, a Comic-Con exclusive. It's kind of funny because it's exclusive to last year's Comic-Con. It's a 2014 exclusive, which, you know, not that big a deal. It's just kind of weird that it's not from this one. I'm hoping next month's box will have stuff from Comic-Con, but I'm not going to hold my breath or get my hopes up or anything like that. But we'll see about that. But anyway, this is just, these are scalers, so I'm sure everyone's seen them at this point. They're from NECA, and they basically are just little figures that hang on any kind of wire or anything like that, wires you have hanging down. And they're exclusive. You got in Spider-Man and one of the old school Iron Man figures. So they're cool. I always like them. You got to have wires to hang them on, obviously, so it's kind of hard to have a big collection of these because you have to have something to hang them on. And I'm assuming they weren't super popular at Comic-Con because they're obviously still left over. So these figures are good. I like them. They're not crazy valuable or anything. I don't think there's a big collector's market for these, at least at this point. But I do definitely see these around. They have lots of licenses and they have lots of characters. But it was still cool to get, and it's cool that at least there was something Comic-Con exclusive. Even though it's not particularly amazing, it was still cool to see that there was something Comic-Con exclusive in there. So I was happy to see that. I don't mind that at all. Then our last group of items all came bunched together. So we'll have to open them up. Oh, one thing I'll mention, they put a ticket in here, a free ticket to one of the Wizard World Comic Con. So you have this if you want it, but you have to be near one. I don't think there are any near me, to be quite honest, so I won't be using it, but hopefully someone out there can. So, our last items. Open this up. So we got some comics, and we got some artwork. Things that I am a fan of. Things that I like. So, first of all, I thought this was funny. We have an Ant-Man variant cover #1, which I think most people would agree they would prefer to get #1. Not that big of a deal if you don't, but I think it's pretty safe to say most people would take a #1 versus not a #1. I think that's just a safe bet to say across the board. The funny thing is that Marvel Collector Corps, we got a number 5 or something like that? And this one we got a #1. So Comic-Con box got a #1 variant, but Marvel themselves wouldn't even give us a Marvel variant. So I thought that was kind of weird. Wasn't that big a deal we didn't get a #1 in the Marvel Corps box, but it's kind of weird considering it's their company. Like, how hard would it have been to get a #1 in there? Especially considering that there were #1 variants that other boxes got. Like, I thought that was odd that they can do it, but Marvel didn't. So, strike against Marvel, +1 for Comic-Con box. Also, it's bagged and boarded. Something else they did better than Marvel box. So, just notes, just things to know. Like, Marvel's got to step it up a little bit there, but no big deal. So, we got a #1 variant 2 Comic-Con box exclusive to it. So that's very cool. They also threw in an extra issue here. Again, this is just filler. I think they're just trying to promote a comic. Maybe they are connected to it in some way. This is also Comic-Con box exclusive. It's called Jurassic Strike Force 5. And basically it looks like dinosaurs in humanish form that have a Strike Force team. Looks interesting, but obviously I don't think anyone is really familiar with the series. I think it's something they're trying to promote. That's why they kind of threw it in there. It's just like extra filler to try and promote something. I still don't mind it. It's cool to have it, but it's just not anything amazing to look at. So, and then our last item. So we got, hold on, Jesus. So we got a print here from Rob Pryor. Now Rob Pryor is actually a very well-known artist. He's done work on Spawn, like he did some work on heavy metal. Like, obviously I'm a huge Spawn fan. Everyone knows that. So anything connected to him is pretty good in my book. So I definitely like that. And he is actually a very talented artist. He does sell prints of his own stuff on here. One thing I really didn't like about it is, again, they put the Comic-Con box logo in the corner. T-shirts is one thing. If they want to put their logo on stuff, fine. I prefer not, but if they do, not that big a deal. But not on a print, though. That's the only thing where I'd say I'm against that. I actually dislike that, because this is artwork. This is artwork that you're supposed to keep in frame. Like, don't put a logo on there. Then that makes it seem crappy. Like, if you want to put it on the back. Put it on the logo on the back. Put a certificate of authenticity. Put your logo on that. Like, I don't care where you put it. You can put whatever you want. Just not on the front of the picture, man. Like, am I crazy here? Like, does no one else think that's weird? I'm surprised that they were okay with that. I'm surprised Rob Pryor was okay with that. Giving them artwork to put in here, nice artwork. They did good quality. They did it on nice cardstock. It's a very nice print. It's got gloss to it. They did a very good job. They stamped their logo on it. Like, that's like unheard of. That's like blasphemy in the art world to put a logo on a piece of artwork. Like, that's just crazy to me. And I'm surprised the artist went along with that. But that's just me being overly sensitive because I'm an artist. Like, I would never do that. I don't think most artists would. But that logo aside, other than that, it's actually a very nice print. It's, like I said, good quality, nice cardstock. I think boxes are finally moving away from the whole poster thing because I don't think anyone liked it. It's a bad way to distribute artwork. They need to do nice quality prints like this. So I was happy to see it, and he does all his stuff in like airbrush, and he's very good at it. He's a very good artist. If you look at this, it's very well done. This is a crossover one of Indiana Jones and Star Wars, obviously, so they don't have to pay licensing. But it's very good quality, and I liked it. I enjoy that they actually get like well-known artists to come do stuff. I appreciate that. I really like that. So, Rob Pryor print. So, that was all the stuff in the box. Let's go back through it and talk about some value. First, the t-shirt. So like I said on my big, long hour spiel at the beginning, this will get dollar amount wise the standard $12 to $15 rating. Because like I said, if you wanted to replace this shirt, you'd pay roughly that. I'm sure you could find it as cheap as $10, but just to make it simple and understandable, I'm still going to stick with the $12 to $15 value. But an individual rating of the shirt based on print quality, size, fit, comfort level, all that stuff, it's going to get a 6 out of 10. It had moderate comfort level. It was somewhat fitted. I wouldn't say fitted, but it wasn't like horribly misshapen or anything. The print on it looks decent. I'm not sure if it'll survive the wash. The picture they chose was okay. So it was just this side of like good. It's moderately good. So that's the rating I'll give on that. So this does get an individual rating. And I'll start rating all the shirts from here on out. So the more we do it, we'll get a better idea of scale and quality and things like that. So, t-shirt gets that. Next, our little chew toy. Our dog chew toy. So I could see this going for right around like $6 to $8. If it was just like a nice collectible, it would probably go for like 10. But the dog toys are made of different materials, and it doesn't make them a little bit cheaper. Not much though, because it is still branded. So right around 6 to 8, I think is reasonable. Next, our mustache. So this would be 5 to 6. I could see this easily selling in any novelty store for around $5 or $6. You can find them online for $5 with free shipping. Depending on where you got them from, someone might charge more than that. I wouldn't pay you more than that, but they might charge a little more. So $5 to $6, general range on that. Next, the scalers. So this one I'm going to put a value of 12 to 15. It was Comic-Con exclusive, but since it was in the box, you can find these online all over. You can probably get them really cheap. Obviously, since it's from 2014 Comic-Con, it's safe to say that this didn't sell well, and it's obviously not rare because it's still around. If it was rare or it sold well, it probably wouldn't have shown up in here. But they're still cool figures. I still like them. They're good quality. If it was so it brings up the value that it's exclusive a little bit, but not much because, like I said, there's not a huge collector market for these. So its exclusivity doesn't change its value that much. Exclusivity only changes the value when it's something that's very sought after or collectible. And as of now, scalars aren't very collectible. There's not a huge market for them. People definitely like them, but not a huge market. So that's why that'll get about $12 to $15 range, because you could easily purchase it for like around that price, possibly even cheaper. Since it was in the box, I'm sure lots of people are selling it for next to nothing. So there's that. Next, our little Zelda keychain mascot figure. This is $3 to $5. I see stuff like this in like Hot Topic or Target all the time, and they're right around that, like $3 to $5. Like, I think that's fair. Then, Ant Boy. So this is obviously not a major blockbuster. I'm assuming it's a somewhat low-budget film, and it also looks like it's for kids. I'm going to put a value of about $5 to $7. I actually saw this DVD in Walmart the other day, and I'm pretty sure it was $5, like $5.99 or something like this. And I could easily see something like this going in Target for like $5. DVDs just aren't that expensive, especially ones that aren't super popular. So $5 to $7 I think is more than enough. And I'm sure you could go on eBay and find this for like $1, because I'm sure lots of people are selling it. So not much value, but it does get at least something. Then the dinosaur. This is totally like a dollar store toy. This you could, if they had it at a dollar store, it would be $1. But I'll give it a little more value just for argument's sake here, and I'll put it at $2 to $3. Because it was kind of in theme, and I'll just give it a little more value just to give it some value. Then we got our ticket. I'm actually not going to give any value to this because for a few reasons. One, I don't think most people can use this. There's only a few Wizard World Comic Cons out there, and I'm nowhere near one, and I think most people aren't. So if you happen to be near one and you happen to want to go to it, then it kind of has value, but it's too narrow of a market for me to give it any sort of value as far as like the ticket price. But if it works out for you and you can go, then that's totally cool for you. I'm sure the tickets aren't expensive anyway, but I couldn't give it value considering it just doesn't work for the majority of people. So I just wanted to say that so everyone knows I'm not skipping it or anything, but it unfortunately does not get any value. Next, our comic books. So Ant-Man, normally a $4 comic, but it's exclusive, so it does go up in value a little bit. It's not particularly rare or crazy popular, so most of the time when it's exclusive, it'll go up to like $10, give or take. It might be a few more dollars than that, depending on how well it sells. Ant-Man's kind of popular right now, so the range is going to be $4 to $10. The original value is $4, the exclusive value is $10, possibly more. So a range of around $4 to $10 on that. The other comic on the hand, just $4. I doubt there's going to be any resale value on it, or the market's going to go up at all. So it's just going to get that $4 rating. Alright, so the last item is the art print. Now, I like that boxes are going this direction of better quality prints. I very much appreciate that. I really do like that. This box and Nerd Block have both done it, so I really hope that we can just be done with posters. They're just so crappy. They never arrive intact. They're always dented and bent up, so I think this should just be the standard and there should just be no argument. That's how I feel. So, I'm glad that they are taking that approach, and I'm also glad that they are finding nice artists. But the value on this is not going to be very high, and that's for a few reasons. The same reasons I've given for the other ones. Now, the value on it's kind of the same as posters. The value is basically what it would cost to print it. Prints from artists can sell for a lot. Like an artist like this, you could easily get like $30 to $40, if not more, out of it. A bigger size one could be a couple hundred. But when artists sell print, they sign and number each one. Maybe not always sign it, but at the very least they number it. That's how you know there's a limited print run. Because if they don't number it, then they can make them infinitely, and then that technically makes them worthless. Just like with anything, with figures, with collectibles, with statues, everything has a limited run. Sometimes they're in the millions, but it has to cap off somewhere. That's where that item gets its value. Now with prints, it's the same thing, the exact same thing. The artist obviously has one original, and then they make copies. Depending on how many copies they make, affects the value. Now, considering this isn't numbered, they can technically make infinite of these. So that drops the value down to basically what it costs to print it. Because since it's not signed and numbered, anyone could easily copy this or print this out exactly the same, and maybe even Photoshop out the logo. So unfortunately, I do appreciate the quality of this print, and I do really like the artist, but the value of this one specifically isn't going to be much. So it's going to be like a $5 to $7 value because it's on nice cardstock, has a nice gloss finish on it, so that's all good, but unfortunately that's all it's going to be worth. I hope in the future that they eventually do, maybe not all the time obviously, but when they're getting nice artists, it'd be cool if they did like a limited run. Like, it doesn't have to be very small, it could be in the thousands or something like that, but it would just be cool to get something that's like signed and numbered. That would make like worlds of difference. I know it's hard to do, but it would be really cool to get that eventually. And I hope they never put the logo on it again, because that's like blasphemy. Like, I can't believe that they did that to begin with. Like, it's artwork. It's like someone went to the Mona Lisa and then just like drew a smiley face in the corner. It's like, no, you wouldn't do that. People sign it on the back. Like, a lot of artists will even sign it on the back. The logos would never be on the front, and I don't like that they did that, and it's very upsetting. So I hope they never do that again. I hope they're watching and so they know never to do that. But other than that, it was good quality, and it was a cool picture. This, like I've said before, this artist is very good at what he does. Like, you can tell by his technique. It's a very good print, and he's a very good artist. So I'd be more than happy to see more of that around. So I'm happy to have that in there. So with that print in there, that brings the value on this one. This box was kind of hard to rate. So it has a very wide range. On the low end of 53, but on the high end of 80. So a lot of things in here didn't have exact values. So they weren't very specific values, because a lot of these things in here weren't very common items. But they weren't really rare either. They were uncommon but not rare. So that's why a lot of the items had a big range of dollar value. So that's why the box has a high dollar value. On the low end, you're getting barely what you paid for. On the high end, you're getting double. So this is very irregular. This doesn't happen a lot when I'm rating boxes. It's a very rare occurrence. So it kind of is up to the individual how you feel about this. This is one of those boxes where it didn't blow me away, nothing spectacular about it, but it wasn't bad either. It kind of is up to the individual whether you like specific things in here or whether you're interested in it. Again, obviously the point of this channel is to help you guys find the best box. I try to help you as much as I can, but at a certain point you take your own personal interests and implement that into deciding whether or not you like this box. This one specifically. So things in here were like very teeter-tottery here. Like the shirt, like it was a decent quality shirt, but the design wasn't that great. Like the mustache is funny, but it's like it's just a mustache. And the scalers were cool, and it was Comic-Con exclusive, but it was just scalers, and so on and so forth. Like, things in here were very cool, but it was like, it's cool, but this, and this, but this. The art print was cool, I love the artist, but it had a logo on there, and it wasn't signed and numbered. So, not complaining about it or anything, but it's just hard because there's just like two ends to like every item in here. But overall, I'd say it was a decent box. So, that being said, well, we may all argue against this, what you guys actually thought, but my value, I'm going to give it a 6.75. On the low end, you pay $38 for this box, which is very expensive. It's a very expensive box. But on the low end, you barely got what you paid for. But I wouldn't probably put it that. I'd put it somewhere in between those. The high end was double, but I also wouldn't put it that high. I was being generous on some things. So my honest opinion, I'd probably put this box value close to, like, not quite 60, but a little bit under 60. So you got a little less than 50% more than what you paid for, which is good. That's a decent value for anyone. So that's good. But a lot of the things in here were not super special. It was cool stuff, and it's cool to see, but not particularly amazing. The Comic-Con exclusive thing was exclusive, that's just cool, but I don't see that going for like a very high resale value. I really don't. And there's just a lot of things like that in here where it was like cool stuff, and you got a lot of items, which is cool, so I really like that, but none of them super high quality. This is the first one I've got. I've heard some people say that this wasn't the best box they've had. I'm very excited to see what next month's box holds. And again, I'm not going to get too excited because this was shipped out before San Diego Comic-Con, so there is the opportunity to have some Comic-Con exclusives in next month's box, but I wouldn't bank on it. So we'll see. That'll give us a better idea. It's always hard to judge a company based on one box because it can always be a fluke. So we'll see next month what they do, if they hold steady and like kind of give the same value and similar products, and then get a better idea of it. Because honestly, this box might not stay around long just because it's so expensive. It's just hard to keep around a $40 box. I think the expensive boxes should be right around $30. I think that's a good margin for a big box, and then cheaper from there if you have the option. But $40 is quite a bit, so depending on how they do next month, if they blow me away with stuff, then hey, I'll stick with them for a while because they seem interesting. But if they kind of teeter off, then I think $40 would be too much to pay for. But again, your personal interests are going to weigh very heavily on the decision whether or not to buy this box. So, I think I've talked enough about it. I've rambled on long and hard. So that's been Comic-Con Box. This is the first one I've gotten. Let me know what you guys thought about it and what you thought of the opinions I had. So as always, let's talk about this stuff and, usual things. So Comic-Con Box, 6.75 out of 10. Shirt got a 6 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think. Love you all. Peace.